Hi, and welcome to Rest Stops, short features to encourage you toward greater life balance. My name is John, and here's my good friend Ralph Stores with today's Rest Stop.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Rest Stop. On April the 11th, 1970, Apollo 13 launched for a manned space mission to the moon. 55 hours into the journey, an explosion ripped a hole in the side of the spacecraft. The mission went from landing on the moon to a rescue mission to get the Apollo 13 crew home safely. Of the hundreds of things the crew and Houston Control had to deal with, one that would determine if the astronauts would survive was the CO2 levels. In moving from the main command module to the lunar lander, where they stayed until the last minute before going back to the main capsule, there was a problem. The lunar module was only designed to support 2 astronauts for 2 days. Now they had a crew of 3, and the trip home was significantly longer. The carbon dioxide indicators were reaching critical levels. The CO2 scrubbers and filters from the command module were different from the ones used for the lunar lander. Using a sock, cardboard, duct tape, and other items on board, they literally made a square peg fit into a round hole. Through the ingenuity of the crew and Houston Control, the improvised makeshift filters worked. CO2 levels went down, the astronauts were safe, and the rescue resulted in a successful splashdown. It was later labeled one of the most successful failed missions ever. Filters, whether CO2 filters, oil filters, fuel filters, air filters, or coffee filters, they are designed for one primary purpose: filtering out impurities, dirt, or foreign materials. One of the greatest needs that seems to be largely missing in today's culture is language filters. Houston, we have a problem. People don't seem to care what comes out of their mouths anymore. They have no filters, and it spills over not only into their conversations, but even more so through what they say when hiding behind social media platforms as they post their drive-by barrage of verbal venom. The amount of filth, gossip, slander, unfiltered speech, and sewage that spews out of the mouth or keyboard these days is nauseating and simply unacceptable behavior. People, filters, use them, please. Want greater life balance, peace, and tranquility? Stop gossiping and sharing personal one-on-one private conversations you have had with others with the rest of the world. Simply stop it. I was recently studying 3 John. This is a fascinating letter from the Apostle John to the beloved Gaius. There is a verse toward the end of this short letter that demonstrates incredible control and constraint on John's part. John has had to address a few matters, and then at the end says, "I had many things to write, but I do not wish to write to you with pen and ink. But I hope to see you shortly, and we shall speak face to face." Here's something of interest. The Greek phrase face to face actually means mouth to mouth. Translation, John says, "There are things I have to say, but we'll say them when we meet. They are personal and private. We'll talk mouth to mouth." The scriptures speak volumes about the tongue and how unruly it is. We are admonished not to gossip or slander. Our tongues are to be used for speaking truth in love, speaking blessings and encouragement, not cursing or maligning one another. Imagine how much heartache, misery, pain, breached trust, and broken relationships could be prevented if we simply kept private and personal conversations private and personal instead of going public. How are you doing when it comes to filters?